I can be a little bit of a hothead. He's probably a little more calm and has a more even demeanor to him, which I think we pair together very well that way. But I think we're pretty close, and to where he knows how I am and I know how he is. So regardless of how we are on a given minute or a given play, we're both competitive people, and we both know we're both here to try to help each other be the best we can be. And whenever you have that, you can just genuinely coach someone and not have to worry about anything else. Just whatever's in your mind, you let it come out of your mouth. And when someone knows what your intentions are and who you are as a person, it really doesn't matter how you show your personality.
Kyle Shanahan, 49ers coach, talking about his interactions with quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo. And I think what he said there is so insightful and it's so appropriate. And, you know, when you have the right relationship with somebody you're working with and they understand we're all in this together, we're all trying to do what's best, you don't have to tiptoe around what you want to say.
No,
right. Like John Gruden has to do with Derek Carr.
Sure.
And like he didn't have to do with you. Like you knew, even though Gruden wore you out, you knew the broader goal was to make the football team as good as it could be. There was a method to the madness.
No doubt about it. Even like his assistant used to come up to me and go, listen, if he wasn't yelling at you, then you should be worried. If he wasn't mad at you and always challenged you, then you should be worried. It was kind of his way. Yeah, he showed he had some faith in me. Like, this guy could be something, so I'm going to be hard on him. And exactly right. You got to have thick skin, and then you definitely do with Kyle, because he's as blunt and as in your face as you're going to find as far as an NFL head coach.
And the common goal is to make the team as good as it can be, the player as good as he can be. This is how you coach. This is how you improve. This is how you prepare guys for the fires that inevitably happen when you're out there on the field and there is confusion and everything's going haywire and you have to decide what I'm going to do. How do you get yourself to the point where you can make those calm, rational, even-handed decisions in moments of high duress and stress? That's what they're preparing you for.
Exactly right.
That's what you've said before. Going out onto the field was a welcome relief from dealing with John Gruden because you didn't have to listen to him when you were on the field.
Exactly right. I didn't have Napoleon standing 8 yards behind me going, get out of the huddle, get out of the huddle. 10, 9, 8, hurry up, you dolt. Hurry up, hurry. I mean, that's what he used to do to me, to where I could still remember being on the field in my first preseason game going, oh my gosh, this is amazing without this guy back there. I mean, I don't have to deal with him yelling at me, and I feel free, and the game was easy. And that was the method behind his madness. And, he's not the first coach to do that. Shanahan's like that. Shanahan, first off, as you know, he's smart. He has a vision of what he wants in the offense, and he wants a quarterback that, can make plays, but more or less is going to be a machine and listen to him. That's where he got successful with Matt Ryan and even Matt Schaub with the Houston Texans, because he would say, hey, and this coverage, just read this guy. I'm going to make it really simple for you. You just got to read this one guy. And then you throw to the opposite guy who he's not covering. And if you don't do that, you're an idiot for not listening to Kyle, for one. And, of course, he's going to go crazy and you're going to end up being on the bench. But he's going to make life easy on you that way. But he's going to demand a lot of you, too, to make sure you listen and carry carry his message and everything that he's taught you through the week into the game.
It reminds me of something Rex Grossman said in 2011 after the lockout ended, because he was one of the contenders to become the starting quarterback in Washington, where Kyle was the offensive coordinator. And they asked Grossman, does he think he has a chance to win the job? And he said, yes, I do. Well, why do you think that? Because I'm going to do exactly what Kyle tells me to do.
That's right.
I know that's how you get the path to the playing time. You do what Kyle says, and you're going to be the quarterback. And he ended up winning the starting job because he did the things that Kyle wanted him to do. He ran the offense the way Kyle wanted him to run it.
Yeah, I mean, I used to have this argument with Kyle every now and then, because he'd tell me about quarterbacks that, I think you can win a Super Bowl with that quarterback. And I would go, no, you can't. I would go, maybe you can because of your offense. But I was just like, the rest of the NFL doesn't view that guy as a Super Bowl type quarterback. But yes, to everything we've talked about with Kyle, with his knowledge of defenses, his fearlessness and designing plays that have never been seen before in the NFL or doing any of that. He really knows what he's doing. He's broken it down. He lives it. And he's going to give you a contingency plan for all if the plan fails anyways. So you're going to have every answer and feel comfortable that way as a quarterback. So, yeah, you should listen to him. You shouldn't go like, oh, I'm RG3 and I'm really fast and I'm just going to kind of make crap happen. You know what happens when you do that? Well, you end up being on the bench for the next 5 years of your career.
We spend a lot of time talking about the opportunity that the Bears had to take Patrick Mahomes instead of Mitchell Trubisky. we never talk about the fact that the 49ers
You're right.
took Solomon Thomas, who's been a major disappointment, instead of Patrick Mahomes. With that
I reminded him once or twice.
But and that's I feel like Patrick Mahomes is the kind of guy that Kyle Shanahan wouldn't want, because he feels that there's a lower chance of Patrick Mahomes running the offense the way he wants it to be run.
Yeah, it's a great. I think there's a faction of coaches in football who are scared of people like Patrick Mahomes because they think, oh, he's just going to be cocky and so talented and he's going to want to do whatever he wants and he's not going to listen to me. And I disagree. I've had this conversation with Kyle too. That guy will listen to you. He's going to listen to you. He's been put in an environment right now where Andy Reid wants him to listen, but Andy Reid also gives him the ability to play some backyard football too. It's not the same as Kyle. He kind of goes, okay, here we go. We're going to attack it. But if it doesn't work, hey, you got these talents and you attack it this way. And they kind of hash it out that way. Yeah, Kyle doesn't necessarily run his offense like that. But I do think there is, Kyle and a few other coaches out there, they want robots at quarterback. But then when it's a big game and the defense is all over their offense, all of a sudden they want, I want a guy that can scramble around and make a play. Where do I get one of those guys? Well, I don't know. You wanted the robot, so you didn't get him. So, I think Kyle has come to the realization that, yes, guys like that can be taught, like Patrick Mahomes and things like that, where he doesn't necessarily need the what do I want to say, the goody two-shoes, borderline backup or not super talented guy.
Basically, and the criticism I had at the time for Kyle when I saw Rex Grossman's quotes is Kyle basically wants to be the kid with the joystick on the sideline who is manipulating everything the quarterback does.
Sure, right.
Do it the way I tell you to do it, not the way that you think you should do it or could do it or maybe can do it instead of the way I want you to do it. If you do it the way I want you to do it, we're going to be successful.
Yeah. I think there is a lot of that, and he's like that with his coaching staff too. He wants those guys to convey the message he's giving in the coaching room. But that's what makes a great head coach. Hey, Bill Belichick, I don't think it's a whole lot different that way too. But yeah, there's got to be a little bit of a give and take with I think a guy like Patrick Mahomes as maybe compared to a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo. Yeah, there would have to be. I always think about a clip between it's the Falcons-Broncos Super Bowl, right? And John Elway's mic'd up for that game, right? It's his last game ever. He throws that deep bomb to Rod Smith, right? They come out of the timeout, right? So he's going out there to run that play. And, hey, if you get the look, throw the post. And John runs back and goes, well, wait, what if I don't get the look? And Mike looks at him and goes, that's why we pay you all the money. Make something happen, right? So that's gonna happen, especially as you get deep into the playoffs, the Super Bowl. Not everything's going to be exactly as you expect it to be, and your quarterback's going to have to make a play. And Garoppolo has shown moments of doing that this year.
One quick point on that before we turn to Garoppolo. Yeah. When you were talking about Patrick Mahomes and how he plays and that Andy Reid has figured out how to coach him, I can't not think about Andy Reid's experience in Green Bay with Brett Favre, right? If you don't go through the highs and lows of Brett Favre and understand maybe how to properly put parameters on a guy like that, you want nothing to do with Patrick Mahomes.
Right. I think that's a very real thing. But when you start to see, okay, I did get some parameters on Brett Favre, and we saw what it ended up being. And I don't think Mahomes is as crazy as Brett Favre naturally to begin with anyways, and I mean that in a good way. Just not as the loose cannon personality or a loose cannon with the ball as compared to Brett Favre. But you're right, that's had to have helped him out to give a little bit of, like what we were just saying, again, that leeway to go, okay, here's the play, but if it doesn't work, I traded up in the draft for you to get me out of this jam now. My play didn't work. Make something happen, and more times than not, he does.
So Kyle has his robot in Jimmy Garoppolo, and he's found a cheat code recently, which is hand the ball off, hand the ball off, hand the ball off. And it is such a strange time when you think about the criticism that Jimmy Garoppolo is absorbing. It has nothing to do with anything he's done.
Yeah.
It has everything to do with what he hasn't done.
Right.
He hasn't thrown. We were at the game, the divisional round matchup between the Vikings and the 49ers, and even though the stat sheet doesn't show it, I think there was a palpable sense in the stadium that Kyle got a little freaked out by some close calls from Garoppolo and decided, let's just run the ball, and it worked.
No doubt.
We're going to keep running the ball until they can stop it, and they didn't stop it, so we don't need to throw.
Right.
19 total passes that game, and then the next week, hey, what the hell? Let's run the ball until they stop it. Oh, they can't stop it. We'll run it 42 times. We'll pass it 8 times. But that's the problem going into the Super Bowl, right, Chris? How do you flip the switch on if you're Garoppolo, if you have been essentially mothballed over the past couple of weeks? They're going to call upon you potentially to win the game with your arm if they can't run the ball. How can you expect him to do it when he hasn't been expected to do it at any point in the postseason?
Yeah, well, I think the Packer game in general is different. He made a few completions and nice throws early on. They got up, and they just never had to rely on the pass game. And like you said, they just dominated that way. But it's not like he's mentally checked out. And we've seen him play in a lot of big moments this year. I don't think this is going to be – I would be shocked if they won this game the same way we saw them win their 2 playoff games. Jimmy Garoppolo, I would expect, is going to have to do more in this one. Kansas City's run defense, it's better than Minnesota's and Green Bay's. There's no other way around it. It's been one of the better run defenses in football over the last 7, 8, 9 weeks of the year. So from that standpoint, especially with Spagnuolo, who, again, let's not forget him in this matchup. This is another guy who's shown great creativity and guts when he's had 2 weeks to prepare for Super Bowls. Both times with the Giants were phenomenal little game plans there. So, I look at that and go, okay, he's going to have some curveballs. So where Shanahan's not going to be able to just dictate the run game, I think, all game long, I think Garoppolo will be fine. I think he knows his role in his team. And like Kyle said, I don't think he's a guy that's like, like you and me, where we might overanalyze every little thing we say and do in a day or whatever. I think Jimmy Garoppolo's like, all right, completion. What's the next play? Oh, okay, great. Oh, it's this play. Yeah, okay. I think he can wipe the slate clean very easily.
You've said it yourself in as respectful a way as you can. He's kind of a meathead.
Yeah.
And he's not going to be freaked out.
Right.
And he's not going to be flustered.
Hey, baby.
Let's go do it. Let's just go play.
Yeah,
and
right.
If they win the Super Bowl and he throws it 8 times, so be it. If he throws it 38 times, so be it.
Exactly.
He'll do whatever he has to do.
I think so.
And that's what adds to this mystique, this intrigue, this drama about how those 4 quarters of football will play out and how much of what we see in the first quarter is going to echo into quarters 2, 3, and 4. How much will the game change before our very eyes? Fascinating.
I'm excited
for what's to come.
I feel like I'm as excited as ever.
They make you wear a wristband?
No,
How did you avoid wearing a wristband?
I don't know. I don't have a wristband.
They made me wear a wristband. I got the fashion statement. You got the dispensation for the wristband. They probably don't have a wristband big enough for your giant.
They just trust me. They just trust me. They want to make sure they got tabs on you.
Yeah, it's funny. I had to run my pass a few times before it finally turned green.
Yeah.
They had to make a few phone calls.
Yeah. Roger was like, don't let that jerk in again.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.